So I've got aluminum foil here, and I don't want to tighten this stuff up so tight and use all your force on it that I really can't change this stuff later on. I want to use it like clay, and I really can't shape this stuff, so I want to keep it open. So I'm going to put that one aside. I don't need a whole lot, just got a small amount. I'm going to work from the bottom up. So I'm just going to create maybe a little foot down here. I like to think of the foot as a slice of pizza, kind of going that way. And then that thing is going to wrap on up. Okay. And I'm just going to put this thing around the bottom. Again, don't worry about the wire down here. That's not your foot. That's just a piece of anchor to be underneath. This is going to become the foot later on. So I'm going to wrap that around, bring that right up, as high up as you want to go. I could have had a piece go all the way to the top, but that's going to become the calf. I don't need to shape it all at once. Bring that, remember I want the shin to be nice and straight. That's the front of the leg. And then that calf is going to swell out. Let's see, here's my knee. It's kind of odd when you're playing with elongation and abstraction. I'm stretching it out so that calf can, for this foot, I might want to put the calf there, but the knee's way up here, so that calf should be somewhere over here. So I'm going to sculpt that in a little bit, and I can pop this out later on. The thigh, and I want to fill in the inside. I don't want to just wrap it around equally and turn this into a Michelin man or a cowboy wearing chaps. I want to fill in the inside. So I'm mainly going to open this up. Notice the wire is staying on the outside. I could use tape. I want that thing to be cone-like. So I want this to get narrower and narrower as it goes to the knee. There's no one way to do this. However, you can get it to stick to the wire. If you got to use tape, you want to build it up. Now I'm going to go to the other side. I don't want this big gap in between, unless that's part of your stylization of how you're going to distort this, distort or stylize. But I want to bring this inside. So I can, again, use this thing to kind of keep myself honest. I'm getting close. Looks like I've got this little gap right in there, so I'll just fill a bit in. Now I'm keeping the torso separate. You know, our legs move back and forth and they pivot in those hip joints, and the spine comes through here, abdomen muscles, kind of all that structure is inside. So I'm going to keep these things separate. I don't want to just have a big wad of foil right over the top of that thing. So on purpose, I'm trying to build these things separately. Okay, so now I want this hourglass shape in order to do the torso. So I'm going to think about the rib cage and the abdomen and how that rib cage kind of needs to connect up to the hips. Okay. So instead of just kind of throwing some stuff on there, I am going to think a little bit about this rib cage and its swelling over of the abdomen coming out. I want to keep this valley kind of separate from the thighs. Additionally, I want to look at the back. Remember that the back of this piece has an S-curve for the spine. So the belly can pop out and those thighs can come on out of there, and that neck is going to come out a little different area there. Right? So you have the S, there's that backwards kind of S in there. If I was looking at it from that way, there's the S. Right? It's not a full S like that, but there's that subtle S. So the rib cage, right? Hips, and then the belly. Now this is such a small piece that I might want to pull that off. If it kind of looks a little bit too rough all of a sudden and you can't figure out that anatomy, you may want to pull it off and start over again. I haven't covered too much, but I think I'm already at the waist. Okay, I don't need much more, so I'm going to go ahead and swell up the shoulders. I want that wire to kind of stay in the back. so that that's the spine. I've got the S curve. I might emphasize it a little bit more. I like the way that this belly is starting to pop out and the chest is starting to come over a little bit. Here's where I'm going to have the valley separate. I'm going to connect up this line. And see, I've destroyed that valley. I want to have a high place, and then a low place in between. So I want to pull this back out. Here's my mountain, and it's going to slope down into there, go down into this valley, and I want to pull that back up. A couple of mountains here in the back. And look at that silhouette that I'm creating, kind of keeping my eye on what shape do I have. Okay, so this foil isn't cooperating. I've got these little pieces here, some things are falling off, so I'm going to help the foil stick. A little bit of tape. None of this inside structure matters. All I care about is mass, is just getting material on there. So later on when I skin it, it really won't matter where this stuff is. Now I have destroyed, this is the back side, and I want a valley inside of here. I want two mountains and a valley in between, and by putting this tape there, that may not be the best thing. So let me put the valley back in. See the way that shadow kind of kicks down. We've got a mountaintop, and then it's going down into shadow. So that means I got a nice valley in here. Whereas here, I could use a little bit more. Get that V of the thigh muscle. It's a little wide here, so I'm going to go ahead and squeeze that in. Looking at this silhouette, the way this comes up, goes in to the waist, kind of one nice curve from the knee all the way up, and then boom, right into the waist, and then coming back out. Maybe I'm going to lift that waist up a little bit more. You know, don't get frustrated if you don't see it all at once. Sculpting soft material, whether it's clay, whether it's coat hangers and aluminum foil, it develops slowly. If you don't see right away, try not to get frustrated and rip it all apart, just change it. So now I have that line coming in, and I've just raised the waist from way down here up to here a little bit. I could build this up, but I'm going to go ahead and leave that as is. Try and find this line down here. Think of the joint of a shirt or a bikini strap coming right down there and finding that line into the armpits underneath. Then wrapping around the rib cage. Something important I need to do is look at this from another side. I don't want to get too focused on just one side of it. I want to turn it, all right, and see the neck. I'd like this thing to swell out a little bit, to give a little bit more to the rib cage. Okay, a head. Our head is basically an egg shape, and the chin, like a larger one here. Okay. So there's kind of an egg shape. So as I turn that, I basically can see the whole thing, right? If I turn that upside down, here's going to be our chin. If I look at it sideways, I want that chin to come out a little bit so that neck can come out of here.